Welcome to Policing TV, where I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Serena Kennedy, KPM King's Police Medal. Serena has been the Chief Constable of Merseyside for the past 5 years, and prior to that was a recruit at Greater Manchester Police and then on to Cheshire Police, and indeed is shortly to retire from policing, I believe. Certainly retire as Chief Constable of Merseyside at the end of this month being August 2025. So, Serena, thank you so much and welcome to Policing TV.
You're more than welcome. Good to see you, Bernard.
I'm going to start in fact, in this first video, we're planning to record three videos, each of roughly 10 minutes. I'm going to start with looking back prior to your time as Chief Constable of Merseyside, and looking at your sort of career history. I note that you studied for a Bachelor of Science in Applied Biology. Um, Now, how on earth is a first degree in applied biology relevant to policing? And what led you to consider and then to pursue a policing career, having presumably been interested in a career in biology?
So I went to the University of Hull to study applied biology with a view to going being a forensic scientist. I kind of was combining a fascination of crime with a love of the sciences. So it seemed a good combination. So I went to study with biology with a view to applying to be a forensic scientist. In my final year, my dissertation involved a lot of laboratory work. And I have to say, I found laboratory work quite solo, quite lonely work. And I get my energy from being around people. So realised that whilst forensic science is a fantastic career and an integral part of policing and the criminal justice process, there was a realisation that I didn't actually think a career in forensic science was going to be for me. It's not quite as it appears always on the TV. And I say that's not decrying the brilliant work that my colleagues in forensic science do. It just wasn't for me. So at that point, it was well, let's go and pursue the other part of that, which was that fascination in crime, but also kind of that public service ethos. So I attended a familiarisation day, a familiarisation course at Greater Manchester Police. So it was a 3-day course. So got to go out on patrol, got to go and see a range of different departments within Greater Manchester Police. And that was it. I was hooked and then applied to Greater Manchester Police back in 1993 as I was finishing my degree.
And so there is the connection you mentioned, criminology, between the applied biology and policing. So there is an element of a link there, and it was that familiarization period, 3 days, I think you said it was, that really got you hooked. Um, just thinking of those that are considering a career in policing, whether it be 30 plus years or maybe even a shorter term career. Um, I guess you would encourage people to think of taking a career in policing, would you? Or perhaps who would you encourage to, based on your experience? Applied
I still,
biologists,
I still
perhaps.
think I still think policing is an absolutely fantastic career, and I would, encourage anybody to consider it. Clearly, I joined after university, and I think whilst it's difficult to perhaps see the connection between biology and a degree in policing, I think any degree teaches you in terms of the need to be analytical, and obviously doing a science degree, that was really crucial. And there is a degree of every police officer and police staff members' role, that is, to have that analytical element to them. However, I also am a great advocate that you don't actually need a degree to be a police officer. So irrespective of what level of qualification you've got, whether you've got GCSEs, A-levels, BTECs, a degree, I would thoroughly recommend policing to anybody. The breadth of roles that are available within the policing family is vast and so different to when I joined 32 years ago. And fairly unique, I would say, in terms of, what the ability to specialise and change those specialisms through your career. The other thing I would say is, if being a warranted officer is not for you, i.e. you don't want to be a police officer, there is a huge range of careers for our police staff colleagues who are an incredibly important part of our policing family. And that's what we are. We're an absolute policing family, whether you've got warranted powers, you're a member of police staff, or you're indeed one of our essential volunteers.
What about members of the Special Constabulary? You mentioned volunteers right at the end there. Some choose to put their toe in the, and more actually, they put in their toe in the policing world by volunteering as a special police constable. So for those overseas, effectively, special constables do carry a warrant card, have the powers of arrest. They volunteer to, and then specials, many specials, may I say, choose to go on to apply to become a full-time police constable. What's your thought on specials?
I mean, I think specials, as I mentioned, are a really important part of the policing family. We rely quite heavily on them. Some people do it as a kind of try before you buy. It might be that the degree course that they're doing requires them to do an element of volunteering. Especially when they're doing policing studies degrees, a number of them come and join and be a member of our special constabulary. However, other people, it's a career-long for them of being a volunteer. So, one of our longest serving specials has been with us for kind of 42, 43 years.
Nice.
And it's their part of giving back to the community in the way in which many other people volunteer across our communities. But, we really value the time and the commitment that our specials give to us. But volunteering in policing can be broader than just being part of the specials, so we've got volunteers working across a whole array of policing, whether it be within our enabling services or whether it be on some of our inquiry counters, whether it be our fraud busters. There are many ways in which people can get involved in policing. And it's right from the start. We have our mini police who are in primary school, through to our cadets who are teenagers. And I always include our retired officers as well, and the officers, the families of our fallen officers and staff, and those who died in service, because that connection back to policing, and in particular as the Chief of Merseyside, that connection back into Merseyside Police is often really important for those families. So I always say our policing family starts with our mini police right through to our NARPO members.
I do want to come back to your own policing career, Greater Manchester, Cheshire, then Merseyside. We'll come on to Merseyside in the second video. Um, Greater Manchester, you joined, I guess, as a probationary constable. You worked your way through the ranks. What do you recall your early impressions of policing? Did you, for example, ever doubt that you were making the right career choice?
Oh, absolutely. I actually applied. So when I first joined, and it's really important that you learn your trade, you learn your skill, and a really important part of that is the ability to be able to talk to people from a wide range of backgrounds. And when I joined, a lot of that involved issuing of tickets, whether it be fixed penalty notice or people to produce their documents at the police station. It's a really good way, I say, to learn that skill. But I have to say, I felt like a bit like a glorified traffic warden. And again, not decrying the role that my colleagues who are traffic wardens do. But I did apply and secured a place to go and do teacher training in the very early days of being a police officer. However, by the time it came to me, to the time that I would have left to go and do my postgraduate certificate of education, I thoroughly enjoyed being a police officer by then,
I,
and let that place go. Thank goodness.
I
So
certainly,
yeah,
I feel
in
I
those
should,
early days.
I feel I should mention here that policing has, certainly in my experience, 30 odd, 35 years now of being associated with policing, there have been changes. And my suspicion is that the issuing of tickets quite so prolifically probably isn't a key probationary task nowadays. Maybe, I don't know. But um, okay, uh, let me give you the opportunity to reflect on that early career, working your way through the ranks, Greater Manchester and then Cheshire. Um, had you joined thinking that that is what you would do? So did you have aspirations at that very early stage of achieving the rank ultimately of Chief Constable, or was that something that developed over time?
No, I absolutely didn't join thinking I would even be a senior officer. I wanted to be a police constable. When they offered me the role of police constable at the end of my full day's assessment, I was absolutely delighted. Joined on a standard entry into Greater Manchester Police on the 20th of September 1993. And was posted out to the L Division at Wigan, and part of a supportive tutor unit at the time that was in place. And myself and a colleague who I'm still friends with today were encouraged to take our sergeant's exam really early on in our service. So while we were still in our 2-year probationary phase, we took part one of Osprey, as it was back then, the law exam. And passed that, and then passed part two just as we came out of our probation. So I was promoted to the rank of sergeant with just under 4 years in, and then took my sergeant's exam, part one, part two, and was promoted to inspector with just short of 8 years service. But had worked across a number of divisions, as they were called back then, in Greater Manchester. So had worked across Wigan, L Division, F Division around Salford, K Division, which was Bolton, and the city centre of Manchester, and also been on some headquarters project teams. And so promoted with 8 years service, thinking back then when the pension was 30 years service, that I would quite like to retire as a superintendent. 22 years left to do, and probably thought I could make another 2 ranks in that 22 years. And that was kind of the aspiration with 8 years. But I do feel that throughout my service, I have, been blessed with supportive line managers and people around who have encouraged me, supported me, enabled me to, achieve and be the best that I can, and hopefully reach my potential. And I think that's the important thing, that as we progress through the ranks, we have, it rests with us to make sure that we're bringing through that talent of the future.
Sorry, there is so much more that we could cover in this section, but I fear for this first video, time is defeating us. So what I'm going to do is bring the first video to a close. We will have two more videos to record in a moment or so, but um, Serena Kennedy, KPM, Chief Constable of Merseyside, for the time being, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.